Chapter 13. Privation at Fort Oswegatchie. Privation at Fort Oswegatchie made the soldiers' lives considerably more difficult. The commanding officer, Ensign James Davis of the 31st Regiment, in a report September 5, 1778, to his adjutant general, complained about hardships at the fort. He wrote, "The soldiers' barracks are not in their present situation a cover from the rain or cold. The officers' rooms are also the same." But, said Ensign Davis, he could with little expense make the fort habitable for winter. For the garrison, and particularly for the Indians, he kept a blacksmith constantly busy. Davis, on December 12, 1778, reported he had just received from Captain Aubrey a letter saying that some Indians had come from Onondaga Castle with strings of wampum. The Indians warned Davis that a large body of rebels from Fort Stanwix were on their way to destroy that castle and attack Carleton Island. Davis, as recently as December 4th, had been told to expect an attack on Fort Oswegatchie, following discovery of a very strong scout party within a few miles of the island. Even the officers shivered in the fort, and the Indians had to hunt for much of their own food because His Majesty's provender was limited. In December 1778, Adjutant John Ferguson made a report to headquarters at Quebec, listing the provisions at Fort Oswegatchie, including 14,862 pounds of flour, 8,446 pounds of pork, 965 gallons of peas, 1,003 pounds of butter, and 1,400 pounds of oatmeal. Ferguson calculated as follows the number of days these victuals would nourish 50 men: flour 297, pork 295, peas 359, butter 373, and oatmeal 393. Rebels, Americans, and hostile Indians continued to menace the fort. On April 8, 1779, Sir Frederick Haldimand, British general and colonial governor of Quebec, sent his aide-de-camp, Captain Brame, with a letter to Ensign Davis, disclosing intelligences that the rebels mean to attempt intercepting some of the convoys of provisions destined for the upper posts, and urging incessant scouts, upon whose conduct and care you can depend. Davis was ordered to transmit all intelligence to Haldimand and to the commanding officer at Carleton Island. On the same date, Davis told Haldimand of an express just in from Carleton Island, warning that an enemy attack was possible. He wrote, "I have accounts of several parties of Indians at this garrison, that the rebels are on their march to take the post at Oswego, with some part of the Onondaga Indians joining them. Also, they're assembling a body of men, it is said, to attack Carleton Island or this fort. I have also got intelligence that the enemy is preparing small parties in order to distress the brigades of provision on their passage up the rapids in the spring. I further beg leave to mention to your Excellency that the bateaux are in great danger in the rapids from scouting parties of the enemy." Haldimand on April 19, 1779, at Quebec, acknowledged the letter from Davis, carried by Ferguson, and warned of the urgent necessity of keeping constant scouts, that no party of the enemy may approach your fort unnoticed, and at the same time observing with your garrison the strictest attention to duty to prevent a surprise, should the enemy escape the vigilance of your scouts. Haldimand wrote, "The difficulty attending the transport of provisions to your post will make you sensible how much care must be taken that none are expended unnecessarily, but the greatest economy must be established in this particular."